deep. Left side three is good. From 30 feet, John Elmore.
The Drive with Paul Swann.
Welcome in to another edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. How you guys doing out there? It's Friday. That means we're going to talk a little high school football with you. I'm going to have my man, I've got Woody Woodrum. He's going to join me a little bit later on. We're going to talk Huntington and Spring Valley. And then we're going to flip that. We're going to talk Spring Valley Huntington. That's right. That's our game of the week. We've got that blasting all over the airwaves. We're going to have that for you right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Chris Tatum's going to be part of that crew with Woody. And then we're going to flip over and talk to Matt Perry. We'll have that for you on 92.7, 98.5, The Planet. You can get the Spring Valley side of things. It's going to be a big game tonight. Playoffs are heating up, so we've got that for you. That's not all. We'll take your phone calls, 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. So we got those guys coming up. We're going to hang out with them individually. I don't know if I would put those two in the same segment. Personalities, I just don't know. Besides, tonight it's Huntington Spring Valley. Now, I made a prediction earlier. I'll tell you what it is later. I made a prediction because someone told me that they didn't think Team X would win, and I said, no, they're going to win. So I made a prediction earlier. I'll tell you about it later. Just a fun fact, I didn't go to Huntington High, the new one, Spring Valley, or Cabell Midland, so I don't have a dog in any of those fights. But I made a prediction. I am not a biased observer. I am unbiased because also the fact that we've got both teams. So, unfortunately, sadly enough, we're going to lose one tonight, but we still got the other. So, somebody's season ends tonight. Somebody's season goes on. We're good either way. I'm having fun. And I enjoy talking to those guys. So that's what's coming up tonight on the program, and we're going to get you caught up on some things happening. Volleyball tournament, of course, is going on this weekend at the Cam Henderson Center. So if you get an opportunity, just go out and support that thing. Go out, support volleyball, help that sport maintain and grow at Marshall. They could use a lot of support now. Yesterday we talked to Mitch Jacobs, Marshall's former volleyball coach. I have to call him former now because he announced his retirement. And if you missed that, go back to our podcast. And the best way to do that is either you can find us on Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, Spotify. I like to tell people to go to Apple Podcast, do a search for The Drive with Paul Swann. You can go to our Facebook page, The Drive with Paul Swann. I usually post all the good episodes there. Find us on Anchor. But subscribe to the podcast. You'll have that to you. And it's a good listen to hear Mitch and just him going over some things and talking about yesterday, him announcing his retirement. Now, he's not going to stop coaching. He's definitely going to have more time now to work with youth volleyball. And I'll tell you what, if you're looking for a guy who is going to be really good creating leaders out of your children, that's the guy right there. I'm sad to see him go, but I'm happy at the same time that he's going to have an opportunity to do some things. And maybe one door closes, another door opens is really true. So sad to hear he was going yesterday. Happy, though, that he's got an opportunity to do some other things now with his life. We got basketball coming up here in a few days. We've got Herd football coming up tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to be out there tomorrow getting ready for Marshall and UTSA. It's going to be a better day than it is today. I know it's nasty right now here in the Huntington area. It's going to be a better day tomorrow. Senior day, final day to get a chance to see these guys at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. Final time. And you know, this is anecdotal. This doesn't represent anything, but somebody came into our office today and said that they had checked out on Doc Holliday and the rest of the season. And I'm thinking, but there's still 2, maybe 3 games to go. I say maybe 3 because you got to get that 7th win. You got 6. You're bowl eligible. Get that 7th win, because then that's going to put you in a priority over 6-win teams in the conference. And if you didn't know that, I thought Mike Hamrick, Marshall's athletic director, illustrated that perfectly yesterday. And by the way, that guy had it all laid out perfectly. Yeah, he gives me the business now and then, but truly a good guy. And I'll get him back. But truly a good guy, and he's completely right on a lot of things. There's a lot to play for Marshall football. And the Thundering Herd has an opportunity to win 7 games, an opportunity to win 8 games, opportunity to get into a good bowl game. You get a chance to see the seniors tomorrow, guys that you've been following for several years if you followed Herd football. So you've got a lot going on for Marshall football still. And, well, by the way, it's heating up for basketball. That's just an added bonus. So, final time to see football at home, but basketball starting to ramp things up. It's a good time right now. And I know you're excited for basketball. We really didn't talk about it yesterday. Well, over 6,000 on Wednesday? 6,000 on Wednesday. Now, that number is going to be a lot higher than it usually is initially because, again, season tickets, everything's sold out. So the number is going to be at a base point. But then there's the extra on top of that. And fans coming out on a Wednesday to see Herd basketball was really good to see. And I hope that continues. Now, we've got Monday coming up, and I'd like to see the fans show up there. By the way, I'm going to be late to that game. So don't go looking like where's Swann when you don't see me there on Monday. I'm going to be late to that game. I got Nealon and Pruitt. Our season continues. 3 more weeks of Nealon and Pruitt. I've got to start counting that down too because I'm not going to see my 2 favorite uncles after it's all said and done for a while. And so we'll have that coming up on Monday as well. So basketball, I've got the Nealon and Pruitt show. Hope you guys can tune in to both. Basketball over on the Dog. Also listen to us here. Take your radio. If you're going to the basketball game, I don't think they would mind if you take your radio, if you've got one in this day and age. Listen in a little bit. Hear some Herd hoops. Flip over here a little bit of Nealon and Pruitt talking football. It should be fun. And we're going to know a lot more about where the Mountaineers are and their quest to get to the Big 12 championship. Possibly contend for one of those spots in the championship playoff. Thundering Herd finishing out on a strong note, getting a bowl game. You got to get 7 to secure that. You get 7, you're pretty much going to be okay in the conference, and then you get 8, you're going to be pretty good as well. So a lot to play for, a lot going on. High school football, though, is going to take over the airwaves here later on this evening. We've got a full night for you. We've got Huntington, Spring Valley. You can hear that on several of our stations. Ours, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930, also on 92.7, 98.5 The Planet. We're going to video stream that for you tonight. Go to our Facebook page. You'll see the link. If you don't, I'll have words with people. But go to our Facebook page, and you can click on the video stream there, or just go to WRVC.com. Click on the link there. Go directly to the source. Get the video, and you can watch it that way. So we got several ways for you to listen to this game, watch it tonight, and I'm excited. We've got a big one tonight. It's the game of the week probably in Class AAA. Of all the games being played, this is going to be the big one. Huntington High Revenge Tour. Does it continue, or does it end tonight? As there's 3 teams that beat Huntington High. Cabell Midland, Spring Valley, and Capital. Huntington High got their revenge on Cabell Midland and knock them out of the playoffs. Now, can they do the same against Spring Valley, or is Spring Valley just going to be too much for the Huntington Highlanders? And keep this in mind, Huntington High, really competitive with Spring Valley in that last contest. Huntington High could have won that game. I don't want to say should have, because they didn't, but they could have. Woody Woodrum's going to tell us about it. We'll talk about him and this game on the Huntington High side of things when we continue with this edition of The Drive. We are presented by Beltone Hearing Aid Center right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Is he locked in yet, Woody? Okay, We'll go to him next.
Don't worry. Paul Swann has the wheel on The Drive, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Friday edition. The Drive continues on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. And sometimes you need someone to maybe drive a little bit of the way for you. That's why I've got Woody Woodrum. He joins me now on the program, and he's going to drive for a little bit. As tonight, Huntington High is taking on Spring Valley. This is the Huntington High Revenge Tour. It's what I've billed it as. It's what I'm promoting it as right now. And all they have to do is win the next two, and then they've completed the Revenge Tour, and they're playing for a state championship. Simple, right?
Well, I wouldn't be really mad if after we won tonight, perhaps Hedgesville could upset Capital and we'd play the semi-final game at Huntington.
I'm okay with that. I'm completely okay with that.
Okay. Yeah, I know Hedgesville likes to throw it around, Paul. So I don't think it's going to be a walkover for Capital tomorrow. And the other game is going to be interesting from the fact that it's kind of hard for Parkersburg. Is got to go to Martinsburg, and Ripley's going to Musselman tonight. And boy, it snowed 11 inches on Route 68 between Morgantown and the Eastern Panhandle. So I understand they're having some interesting travel plans there.
I would say that's the politest way to describe the travel plans heading there. That's the politest thing I've ever heard you say about the travel plans there.
Yeah, well, you can't do anything about snow, and they're limiting people. Nobody can drive through there at night. But that mountain pass between West Virginia and its Eastern Panhandle and then into Maryland, it can snow in July there. So it's a lot like Route 60 used to be when you went over the hill to Lewisburg. And I had a driver that was stuck there many times in October and March when I worked for Keith Earls at Tri-State Air Cargo back in the day. So, there are some areas of this state are still very snowy even this time of year.
Now, for those of you wondering, we have a slight delay between me and Woody, so it's not that we're just falling asleep listening to each other and then waking back up. Did want to point that out a little bit. So tonight, Huntington High and Spring Valley, once again, a rivalry renewed. And some would say Spring Valley, Cabell Midland, that's the bigger rivalry between Spring Valley and the area schools. Cabell Midland, Huntington might be the bigger rivalry between them. I don't know how it all works out, but I do know that these two teams like getting after each other.
Paul, there's no doubt about that. It's I'm trying to push it as the city championship during a regular season. I mean, let's face it, there's a lot of folks in the Westmoreland section of Huntington who go to school here, and while it lays in Wayne County, still much of this area is considered Huntington. So, I think a regular season ought to be a Kindred Cup or something, maybe for the championship of Huntington between the two schools. But this is playoffs, and that's completely different. And, this just happened a couple of years ago where Huntington was the last team to beat Spring Valley here on this field in the opening game a couple of years ago. Spring Valley hasn't lost since then. And, when it happened the other way, Huntington won the first game, and Spring Valley turned the trick against Huntington last year in the semis by beating them 10-0. So Huntington's hoping to repay that, Paul, by getting the win in the playoffs against Spring Valley. And neither team has any assumptions about trick plays or this or that. They're going to be slamming into each other, and it's going to be hard-nosed, hard-driving football almost all night.
Is this Huntington High team, after getting out of that slump, that losing streak, getting the victory against Cabell Midland, is this team retooled and equipped to make this run and to beat Spring Valley, which will probably be the toughest team, even though there are still challenges ahead, the toughest team they'll face until maybe the championship?
Before last week, I would have told you I wasn't Yeah, sorry, Paul.
Oh, no, you're fine.
That delay is a little tricky. Last week, the Billy Seals dipped into a middle school running back. Their leading tackler, Brockton Blair, had played in middle school. And he not only had a tremendous game last week, 16 carries, 79 yards, that's 5 yards a carry almost, 1 touchdown. He also had 17 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, minus 10 yards total, and broke up a pass on the other side. He has blocked a field goal this year. He has 90 tackles, 8 tackles for loss, a quarterback sack, and 2 passes broken up. So you're probably going to see a little dose of Brockton Blair because at 6'2", 225. He has comparable speed to Diallo Mitchell, who's 6'1", 195, and is a little bit faster than Malik Johnson, who's 5'10", 215. And, of course, the wild card still is they'll make the decision at game time. Will Ty Wilcoxon, after getting his cast off a week ago Monday, it was possible he might have played last week, but they held him out. They're going to make a decision before this game, and their leading rusher, who only played the first 5 games of the year and piled up 832 yards and 7 touchdowns, might return to give them a little boost as far as speed of hitting the hole. Nobody on the team compares with him.
Woody Woodrum is joining us tonight. It's going to be Huntington High and Spring Valley. You can listen to that game here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 if you want the Huntington side of things. And when I say the Huntington side of things, I mean Chris Tatum, the mayor of Barboursville, and Woody Woodrum, the Winfield General, calling the game. And if you want the Spring Valley side of things, you can listen, of course, to 92.7 and 98.5 The Planet. And what I mean by that is, those guys are all into Spring Valley. So I don't know how this works. You got the mayor of Barboursville and the Winfield General calling Huntington High games. It's crazy. And you guys do such a good job of it.
Well, I like wearing green, so that's the good part of Huntington. That's where Trey went, and of course Trey and his friends X and Brandon have been so helpful to me as far as gathering up the equipment and making sure I don't have to do any of that stuff anymore because I carried one too many load as equipment guy, I guess, for Marshall. But I think Huntington feels like they've got something to prove because they did get beaten. The last game was close. It was 28-16, and Huntington was down inside the 5 and couldn't get a score that might have changed the way the outcome was. So I think, they feel like they've got a good chance at Spring Valley tonight. They're not worried about the regular season game, and obviously if Brockton Blair continues to run well and maybe they get Ty Wilcoxon 10 or 15 carries, they like their chances of winning this ball game tonight.
Woody Woodrum's our guest. He has the call alongside of Chris Tatum of Huntington High and Spring Valley. Again, you can listen to that game right here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Weather-wise, I know it's going to be a dreary night. You anticipate a good crowd still for this one. I know this is a big one between these two schools. The fans definitely will show up if it's even snowing tonight, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
No, I think it'll be okay crowd-wise because the rain quit yesterday. It's a little overcast, but it's not supposed to rain tonight, and the temperature is supposed to stay in the 30s by the time we're through. And if they run the ball like I expect both teams to, it will probably be done early again. But, it's supposed to be in the 30s. The field has been covered, but, I'd be lying to you if I said it was perfect. They've got sand down in some places. The sidelines are a little treacherous. You got to watch yourself when you're there. The left goal line is, I think, pretty soggy. That's where we came in and looked at it from there out to about the 10. The right end zone has a bunch of sand right where people play, which is right in the middle there. So I don't know how the footing will be there. I think if you break away on a run, you might try to hang to the middle because that'll be the driest footing of the whole field. But, both teams have to play on it, and we'll see how it turns out. But I think, I think the field's well enough that nobody's going to say, oh, hey, we should have played somewhere else. Billy Seals could have protested it on Sunday and he chose not to. He could have played on Saturday afternoon, which would have put a lot of us in cross purposes with the Marshall game tomorrow, but he didn't do that, thankfully. And, there were 3 games, though, moved this week, and Doddridge County got moved clear to Glenville, which is nearly an hour away. And I think Sherman and Midland Trail might have got moved as well, and Musselman and Ripley. The Musselman Appleman are going to play over at Spring Mills, the team that came down and lost 77-7 last week to Spring Valley. So there were some fields that were found wanting this week, but Brad and Billy have a great relationship, so there wasn't any gamesmanship. It's just line up and play the game.
Woody Woodrum, he will be on the call with Chris Tatum, who, rumor has it, and maybe you confirm this, he's a very likable guy. At least that's the text I got from him a few minutes ago, that you would confirm that.
Chris is a very likable guy, and, we work well together. I'm the nerd with all the stats and everything, and he does the play-by-play. And having done play-by-play the last time these two teams met, I'm much happier to be calling the color side of things and dazzling people with all the numbers and things we dig up. So, that's just me. I can do a little play-by-play, but I'd much rather be an analyst, a color man, and I like doing that, and I think that's probably my strength. So, and Chris likes doing play-by-play, and he does a great job with it, and that's why we get along pretty well together.
We'll have the game for you coming up tonight. Again, right here, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. All right, I've got to make room now for the other side of this. We're the Huntington High station, but you know what? We're friends with the Spring Valley folks. We're gonna talk to them when we come back from break, Woody. And I'm just kind of create some artificial attention here because, I don't know if you know this, but the guy who calls Spring Valley, Matt Perry. He's a big fan of mine, so I got to be good to him.
No. Well, I will talk to you then about 7 o'clock when we're back for the kickoff and all the pregame stuff here at Spring Valley and Huntington.
All right, buddy. We'll talk to you soon. That is Woody Woodrum. We're having some fun here. It's a Friday edition. Why not? All the work is done. All we have to do now is play the games, and when we come back from break, we're going to talk to Matt Perry. He's going to tell us a little bit about the Spring Valley side of things, and we will get you ready for this one when we continue on this edition of The Drive, presented by Beltone Hearing Aid Center, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
You're listening to The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Friday edition, presented by Beltone Hearing Aid Center on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. It's time now to turn our attention to the other game that we have. We were talking about the Huntington Spring Valley game. It's now time to talk about the Spring Valley Huntington game. And to do so, we welcome to the program for the final time this year, Matt Perry. How are you doing, buddy?
Amazing, Paul. How are you?
I'm good. This is it. This is the final time for you this year. You sad?
And I am wallowing in self-pity.
And it's not because of the fact that I'm going to pick Huntington over Spring Valley and that you're not going to be on with us next week. It's the fact that we've just got holidays. That's it. That's the reason why. So you're not going to be on next week.
I'm still wallowing in self-pity. I don't know what I'm going to do without this.
I understand. No, we'll get you on. Of course, I'm picking Huntington to beat Spring Valley only because of self-serving interest. That's the team that we carry on this station, my station.
Exactly.
But with that said and with that bias thrown out, actually, I didn't go to any of these high schools, so I really don't have a dog in any fight. So I can actually sit back and just have fun with you guys and talk about this one tonight. If any team other than the state championship game is a threat to putting a loss on Spring Valley, it might be this one tonight. Is that fair?
I think it's a very fair statement. Obviously, I've seen Huntington and I've seen Capital, who is lined up to be the semifinal opponent if everything goes according to plan. I think Huntington is a greater risk to Spring Valley. That's just my unprofessional opinion. They had a really tough time with Blackwell last week or 2 weeks ago. He created a lot with his legs. He hit a couple of really great passes for touchdowns. And it was a really close game. I said on last week's show on our pregame that Huntington probably left that game shaking their head saying, man, they tried to give us that game because Spring Valley took their foot off the gas pedal. They cannot do that against Huntington, period.
With this game being so close to the last one, what do you see, if anything, that's going to be different this time? Because these two teams saw each other recently. I've been joking around that it's been the Huntington High revenge tour, because if Huntington High beats Spring Valley tonight, they're one step away from avenging all their losses if Capital comes through. So there's a lot of motivation there for them. There's a lot of motivation for Spring Valley to win this game and move on. Same with Huntington. But nothing's really going to change. These two teams haven't drastically changed in those last 2 weeks. It's just going to be get after it football.
And this is where the X's and O's really come in. The coaches' games. I talked to Coach Dingus last week in our pregame interview, and he said, he didn't. It was kind of a darned if you do, darned if you don't situation against Huntington. Yes, he wanted to win. He wanted the undefeated season, but he also didn't want to, show everything he had. He did not want to put Malashevitz in at quarterback, his, wild Timberwolf or whatever people want to call it. He only did that for one drive, and it provided a touchdown drive for the Timberwolves. He wanted to win and yet not show everything in his bag of tricks. And now this week, obviously with it being the playoffs, you don't worry about that type of thing. But I think it favors Coach Billy Seals because it's fresh in his mind. It's always difficult to beat a team twice in the season. And his players, this doesn't take extra motivation. This doesn't mean looking at game film from week 2. It is game film from 2 weeks ago. Everything's fresh. But, the loss still stings. I think Seals has built in, motivation for this. And it's going to be up to the Spring Valley coaching staff to really negate that.
Spring Valley and Huntington tonight. You can listen to that on multiple stations if you want a Huntington sort of point of view tonight. You can listen to the mayor of Barboursville, who is not from Huntington, and you can listen to the Woody Woodrum Winfield General, who is not from Huntington, or you can listen to the Spring Valley side of things with a guy like Matt here, who is, a guy who is a native of the area, hasn't had the cinnamon taco at Austin's Ice Cream, so I don't know really if his credentials hold up, but he'll be calling the game tonight.
Class of 04.
See, this is what I love about Fridays. Sometimes we just have fun here. We're calling high school football games on a Friday night, talking about it. I mean, that's really fun. I mean, there's business to be taken care of, and these kids take it seriously because they want to do a good job. But at the end of the day, it's high school football. It's Friday night, and it's fun.
And listen, the Tri-State is so, to have all the teams finally covered and to be able to have these types of conversations, it's so cool. And I just have so much fun. And, like you said, we've had a blast kind of joking around every couple of Fridays, and it's been an awesome experience. So
the press box is going to be pretty full tonight. I understand there's going to be –
oh, it's packed, dude.
There's going to be 3 radio stations. There's going to be
That's correct.
There's going to be the student station out in Tulsa. There's going to be Woody Woodrum and Chris Tatum. So
That's correct.
You got to take good care of them. You're going to have at least a couple of newspapers. You're going to have television for video streaming tonight. That Spring Valley press box is not made for all of this.
No, it's not. I've actually been in much smaller press boxes this season, though. I need to write a strongly worded letter to some AAA schools. But, it's going to be packed quarters for sure. I have the TV right on top of me. There's no room to move around. I barely have room to look at my levels, to be honest with you. And so, but it's still a really cool experience. I never, growing up when I went to broadcasting school for 2 years before switching over to becoming a teacher, I never dreamed after that I would ever be A, on the radio after that, or B, on live streaming on the internet and television and stuff like that. So it's really cool to have a part in that.
And again, that game tonight, you can hear it on multiple stations, or you can, of course, watch the video stream. You're going to be in charge of the video stream tonight as far as the play-by-play is concerned. So,
yes, sir.
Don't mess up. This is big.
No pressure.
No pressure. Right. Don't mess up. This is going to be big.
You know what? You know what's terrifying about that? I'm going to just go ahead and put it out there. Those people can instant comment. Like, I feel bad for the stadium announcers when we watch like Marshall games, and people could just be ruthless, and it's instantaneous, you know. So I'm sitting here watching, these messages pop up on the screen next to me, and it's like, oh, I sound that bad. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Moving on.
See, that's your problem. There you go. Let's walk it back a little bit. Let's walk it back a little bit. First of all, focus on the game.
Well, I am. I'm watching like a review screen, like for a
but you can mute that.
Replay.
You can mute that because now they know that you're paying attention. It's going to be even more vicious to you. So
I can't even look tonight. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, ignore that. Do what I do. I ignore social media.
I need to get to that point.
Mitch Jacobs, who is retiring, Marshall's volleyball coach, was on yesterday, and he said that his job's the only job in America where everyone else thinks they can do your job better than you. And I almost wanted to jump in, but I didn't want to. I almost did. Yeah. Say, look, no. Broadcaster is also on that list. Broadcaster.
And I would like to add coach. I'm a middle school basketball coach.
Right.
So I would like to throw that out there.
So middle school coach, head coach, broadcaster on that list, and you got to just ignore it. Don't look at the hearts and the smiley faces. Don't do that. Just turn that off your screen. Of course, everybody else who's out there, feel free to comment because, well, that's what it's there for. Go ahead. Comment all you want on the video and the stream. It's right there for you to do so. I turn that off when I watch the Herd on the stadium Facebooks.
I'll watch it, but, I'm a glutton for punishment.
I told you. I tried.
I appreciate the guidance. I'm going to have to start listening to you eventually.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've been putting it out there all year. Hey, just do this, do that, and don't pay attention to the noise here. Of course, unless you invite the noise in, like I do with the phone number. I put the phone number out there to invite the commentary and the dialogue because I figure the people who call this program, I'm going to get a good dialogue from them. I'm going to get good conversation. They've thought their thoughts out.
That's why it's been, and I'm going to go ahead and just put you on the spot here. That's why it's one of the best to listen to. You were talking about your podcast and subscribing to it, and it's just awesome to listen to local sports get the coverage that you provide it. And so to be a part of that is pretty cool. And so, the dialogue, sometimes it might be uncomfortable or sometimes you might not agree with people, but that's kind of the point. Yeah,
It's the dialogue. It's fun. It's just fun to talk to people, get their opinion, maybe not agree with them, agree with them. Yeah, it's one of the better jobs in America, even though the pay doesn't indicate that. It's one of the better jobs in America. I'm not saying that I'm poorly paid. I mean, I might just have, but I'm not saying that I'm poorly paid. For our management who is listening and contemplating their replacement options now, I am not saying that at all.
You can send your resume. I'll send my resume in, and you can reach me at 3 to Canova Middle School Monday through Friday.
No, they got your number. Don't worry. You're all set.
Awesome.
You're all set. All right, have fun tonight. We're going to be listening and watching. The game is on 92.7, 98.5 The Planet. Also, you can watch this game on our Facebook page. Go to our website. I direct everyone to WRVC.com. Click the link. You can watch it directly from the website, or you can watch it from the Planet website. And, of course, if you're following friends with this guy, he's going to post it 500 places tonight, aren't you?
Hey, that's how you get it out there, isn't it?
Well, yes.
That's what we have to do.
I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just saying you're going to post it 500 places. I'm just.
Yes, I will, sir.
I'm just pointing it out. That's how you find the game tonight. Follow this guy. And everyone knows how to follow you on social media.
They do. That's right.
Have fun. We'll talk to you maybe next week. I mean, it won't be on the show, but I'll talk to you next week.
That sounds great. I'll send you random text messages. It's all right. Have a great evening.
Okay, you know what we'll do next? You know what? You can come back on the show and do Spring Valley basketball updates.
Oh, man. I can't keep up with Spring Valley and coach my own team, Paulie.
You want back on the show? You want on the show?
I mean, I might make room for you somehow,
Sorry,
I might fit you in.
Hang on, let me get your contact information on my phone and delete it. So,
all right,
who does new phone?
Man. Have a great night.
Thanks, buddy. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.
All right. Get him off the air. Matt Perry. Good talking to that guy. I like that guy. He's been fun to talk to all year long. It's Friday. We're having fun on the drive, presented by Belltone Hearing Aid Center, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Now, back to the drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're presented by Belltone Hearing Aid Center on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Welcome back. Paul Swann, your host. Glad you be a part of today's edition. It's kind of the we're just having fun edition. It's Friday. Gabriel Sellard's our producer tonight, having fun as well. But I don't think playing Candy Crush while the show's going on, Gabriel, is the kind of fun we should be having here today. Just want to let you know. I see you're not booking guests on that thing. What are you playing? Candy Crush? What are you playing? What is it? Yes, yeah, you can talk. That's okay.
I'm reading.
Are you actually doing homework?
I'm just reading.
Oh, you're just reading. What are you reading?
Star Wars books.
Okay, fair enough. All right. Thanks for being invested in the show today. I appreciate that. No, actually, he does a good job. Appreciate Gabriel tonight here on the program. He's the only kid I know who can do 5 things at the same time. Multitask, get guests on the show, do his own thing. It's crazy to watch him in there sometimes work. So appreciate him tonight on the program. Going to be back here on Monday to do it all over again, but in a different form because, well, here's what's probably going to happen. We've got basketball on Monday. So more than likely what's going to happen is I'm going to be over at 93.7 The Dog tomorrow for our football. And then again on Monday, Woody's going to be at the Henderson Center. I'm going to be here probably because coming up on Monday, I've got the Nealon and Pruitt show, and that's coming up at 7 o'clock. And so we're going to have that. And then at 8 o'clock, if you want to listen to a little bit of the Nealon Pruitt show, after that we'll join the Game in Progress here. But if you want to hear everything from the beginning, you don't want to hear anything about football, you're just locked into basketball, we'll have the pregame and the game itself, and that'll all come up on Monday on 93.7 The Dog. So you've got options for what you want to do on Monday. For tomorrow, of course, football, Thundering Herd taking on UTSA. Should be a fun game, emotional game. I'm hoping you turn out. Not my job to sell tickets, but with that said, I'm hoping you turn out because it's a good group of seniors that are playing their final home game at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. Still a couple more games for them. Still good group. Weather's going to be okay. It's going to be, I think, better than it is tonight. It's going to be better than it was last week. Shouldn't be raining, so don't let the weather stop you. Just throw a nice warm jacket on. Bundle up a little bit. We're going to be out there at 11:30. Bright and early for pregame activities on the West Lot. For Gabriel Sellards, for Woody Woodrum, Matt Perry, I'm Paul Swann. This has been The Drive, presented by Belltone Hearing Aid Center on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Stay tuned. Following the statewide sports line, we're going to have Huntington High and Spring Valley. You can listen to that game on our website at WRVC.com. You can also listen to it on the TuneIn app or keep your radio locked right here. And you can video stream it on our Facebook page or at our website as well. That's going to do it for this edition of the program. Good night, everyone.
Huntington, W227BS Huntington, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. Huntington Sports Station.